Karma Marching Chamber Band / Orchestra.
The initial appearance of the Fighting Instruments of Karma Marching Chamber Band / Orchestra was, I don't think it had evolved the entire name by then. In 1975, Michael Melnick, better known as Reverend Chumley, invited Flying Karamazov brothers, who were at that time just Paul Magid and myself, just the two of us still in college, to come and do this great fair that he had heard about and was going to go do. And he said, we're going to have a marching band. And that's great. I play trombone and Paul plays clarinet, and it'll be Vandy. We've got a tuba player. It's going to be fantastic. And so we had this little, 4 or 5 piece band. And the whole point was to take the band out through the fair, play a song, stop, and then say, hey, we're going to do a show. Everybody follow the parade back to Chumley Land, as we called what's now called W's and Fields. And so the point was to bring people in to see the show. And we'd stop, 3 or 4 times, and then come back to Chumley Land. We'd do that 4 times a day. I have no idea how we did it. How there was that much time in a day. The shows must have been like 10 minutes long or something. I can't figure it out. First of all, how we did 4 shows a day, and second of all, how we did 4 parades a day. Part of it is that we were 20 years old, and that you can do anything then. But time just was a different shape. Anyway, it was originally called Alligator's Ragtime Band, I think is what Chumley called it. And then he called it the Fighting Instruments of Karma. The Fighting Instruments of Karma Band. But the Fighting Instruments of Karma, I started adding chamber band, marching band, chamber marching orchestra. We had a fiddle and a banjo in the original band. We often would have. There was a guitarist, Bay Manning, who used to come every year for decades, actually, Fred Human. And so that's what the / orchestra is about. Is we usually had strings. We haven't for a while, but I would just free associate the name each time I'd say it, starting with Fighting Instruments of Karma, and then kind of do a series of marching band, chamber band kind of names until it kind of settled down. It turned out I was saying it the same way each time, but that became the name of the band.
We'd like to continue with a tune by the Oscar-winning composer Michael Dana, as arranged by my co-director Gabriel Tatar. It's a wedding march from the film Monsoon Wedding, known as Barat.
There's this tune, the Barat, the wedding march from Monsoon Wedding that my son Gavi arranged, and it just seemed natural to put choreography. The way that a Barat works is that the groom's village and the groom's family become a marching band. They hire a band, they all play instruments, they get this huge parade, and they march to the bride's village with a Barat. That's how you go to the bride's village, and they do a 3-day, however many day it is, party. That's the wedding. But the Barat is when the groom's family comes and presents themselves and has the presents and all the stuff. And so it seemed like such a joyous thing that we really wanted to make that work.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Thaddeus Spey was the original band leader. He was still known as Carl Spade at the time, and he wrote the Chumleyland March, what we use as our theme march, in a Volkswagen. He sat in the Volkswagen parked in Chumleyland overnight, copying out parts all night long, just the trio section, just the end part, and that was our march. That's what we played, and then the next year he didn't come back, so I took over the leadership of the band, and he still, when he's around, hasn't shown up at all this year. When he's around, I know not anymore. I used to call him Commodore and let him take control of the band, but no, I got it now, pretty much. So it's about 30 years ago. We were doing a show at Chumleyland that had a lot of on-stage action and a lot of band cues. And I was trying to be on stage and cue the band at the same time. And I just wasn't able to do both at once. And so I asked Eben Sprinsock, my first clarinetist and therefore concertmaster, to hold the baton for a while. And he hung on to it for 30 years.
Now I'd like to perform for you our national anthem, the Teddy Bears Picnic.
And 30 years later, he handed it back. And now, when he retired as band leader, in his honor, Dave wrote the next tune, known as March to the Casbah. Take off this. Beautiful. Nice, beautiful hat. One, two, 3, 4.
there, I made a few basic changes. I sent everyone their music 6 months in advance. Evan would kind of send it out like the week before. Here's the music, and okay. And I sent it out 6 months in advance. I told everyone I wanted them to memorize the music because, well, the reason actually my bridge to that decision was that I'm getting to the point where I can't read music this big anymore. And I figure if I can't do it, well, so I stopped reading it. I just memorized everything last year. And I went, this is a totally different experience. I'm not looking at a little white piece of paper. I'm looking at the people. I'm making eye contact with everyone. I'm seeing how everyone feels about the band. And it becomes a communication device. It's really, really exciting. You know, watching the babies. I love seeing the babies. Some of them just go, so this is life, huh? Okay, just burn that into my brain. This is what's happening. Others are dancing all, and some are going, I don't think I can take it. Some just, it's too much, it's just too much. That's all of our children, at some point in their lives, were put to sleep by putting them in a backpack, sending them out in a parade. And they always conk out. It's just too much information for a baby. And it's hilarious. Baby in a backpack on the back of the Sousaphonous. In fact, we have a march called Baby in a Pack. We haven't played it for years. Should dig that out. That's a great march. We have a wonderful musician friend that I went to college with, Doug Wieselman, incredible composer, player, plays everything, phenomenal musician, who was at, I think, the 76 fair, maybe. We brought him up, and it was a complete revelation for him, because he had always been, as a musician, about playing everything right. We'll get the best players, we'll play everything as well as it can possibly be played. And he had never been in a place where it was more important how you felt about playing than what you were playing. And it completely changed his life, really. It really turned him around. And I try to keep that in mind. I want the band to sound as good as it possibly can. But I also want everyone to enjoy themselves as much as they possibly can.
One of the things, when we first started playing here, it was the idea of hippies playing marching band music was very strange and ironic. But it's been going on so long that we just kind of, well, sure, hippies, marching bands, why not? And yet, it still seems sort of odd to me. Now he's going to play John Philip Sousa's Liberty Bell. Oh, which you may recognize as the theme from Monty Python's Flying Circus.
our band is only 3 people wide. We have a friend who's a wonderful musician and drummer who said, "Can I play with you this year?" I said, "Well, first of all, we're full. But second of all, it's not really what you're used to. The band is only 3 people wide. Are you marching in an alley?" And I don't, yeah, basically, that's what it is. So how do you keep the front of the band and the back of the band together is an enormous conundrum. And at first the band was not this big. And we had the drummers in the back, like everybody else does. But as the band got bigger, it was like the people in the front couldn't hear the drummers, and it was this total train wreck with everyone having their own tempo. So we stuck the drums in the middle and put the loud ones in the back. And that's great as long as the percussion section doesn't get too long. And now this year I have too many percussionists. They're wonderful. It's an incredible sound. It's incredibly powerful, and it's really hard for the front of the band to hear the back of it. So, and this year we added choreography, which we've never made any. Well, what the other big difference this year is we've had rehearsals. We had a rehearsal at my house in the spring, and we had another one in Eugene at Ben Farrell's house in the early summer, late spring, something, you know. But we got together, we played the music, and then we went out and rehearsed the choreography. And it was scary at first. I wasn't sure they were going to be able to do it, but we're not flawless. But every march we're getting better. And then just a couple weeks ago, I go, wait, there are those fairies that march behind us. I never look back. I don't know what the parade behind us is, but wouldn't it be great if they did it too? So I put it up on the Facebook page, and does anyone know who those fairies are? And it turns out they're all the same group, the flamingos and the giant puppets, and that they're all Risk of Change. I had no idea that that's what was going on. So Risk of Change contacted me, and so I sent them the video of me doing the choreography to demonstrate it. And I looked back, I finally remembered today, I looked back, and we were going around to bed and went, they're doing it. The flamingos are doing the Barat choreography. It was great. That's so great. Well, it was funny talking to the Risk of Change people. They were saying, oh, that's funny, you think that you're the parade. We thought you're the band that opens for us.
You were leading us.
So okay, that's great. And we're all the parade. You know.
Okay, so now tell me, what's the great future for the Fighting Instruments of Karma?
Ooh, well, we will get better and better.
German soprano saxophone player, Cumbia Saborosa.